How's it going, guys? Welcome back. A lot of you have been waiting for a final word on the Savage Model 11 Scout. What do I think of it? Is it a good scout rifle? Is it a good 308 to get into? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you why now may be the perfect time to get into a rifle like this from Savage. Either, well, pretty much any model of the 11, any version of the Model 11, or any version of the Model 10, pretty much right now, is available for a rebate. And you can follow the links down below if you want to skip the video and just get to the rebate and get a really good amount of money off on your Savage 11 or 10. Or stick around for the video because I am going to give you sort of my final word on this particular build. Talk about how it performed for accuracy, how I like it as a hunting rifle. Haven't actually carried it around for a hunt yet. I probably will still do that in the future, but I know enough about it right now to be able to tell you how it's going to perform. How I like it as a scout rifle, how I like the optic, the rings, the sling that I've put on it. Has it had any malfunctions? Spoiler alert, yes it has. We're going to get to that very shortly. And how's the accuracy? So there's lots of stuff to talk about in this review, so let's start getting into it. So I first discovered the Savage Model 11 Scout when I was at SHOT Show 2015. Was introduced to it there at Range Day. Really loved the concept, really loved the lightweight, trim size of it. In my opinion, this has got some potential, I should say, to be an AR-10 replacement or maybe stopgap. For those of you who like the idea of an AR-10 but want something a little bit lighter weight, you like the power, you want to be able to get fairly rapid shots off. Bolt action is not super fast, but I've demonstrated that you can do okay with it, and a lot of people can do much better than I can. But again, if you want something that's way cheaper than an AR-10, way more simple, usually more reliable, and much lighter weight, I think a scout rifle is a great option, particularly in 308. And the Savage Model 11 Scout, again, very good option in my opinion. Obviously, that's not the only purpose that you would put a scout rifle into, however. This would be a fantastic hunting rifle. The 308, pretty good caliber, is going to take down a lot of whatever there is here in North America. So yeah, definitely a good hunting rifle option. Get to the chopper! Some folks might also say, well, this is going to be my precision rifle, something that I'm going to do some either competitions with or whatnot. There are better choices out there than the Savage 11 Scout, but there are not a lot better choices out there than other versions of the 11 or the 10. Gosh, I mean, in my opinion, that is my precision rifle is a Model 10, which I absolutely love. It gets great accuracy in my opinion, and for the money, it's just spectacular. So if you're looking to get into long-range shooting either for competition or just for fun, I think some version of the 11 or the 10, good way to go. The Scout model, however, probably not the one that you're going to choose if that's going to be your primary use. Talking about the functionality on this gun real quick, and I'll get to some of the other things that I've added onto it here in a minute, but as far as how it works, obviously it is a bolt action, and we do have 3 positions for the safety. So right there is fire. Bring it down, you've got safe right there in the middle, which makes it so that you can actuate the bolt, but the trigger will not release. Then pull it down to that safe position right there. The bolt won't move, neither will the trigger. And so this is pretty much the position you would have it in for hunting, for carrying around, using in sort of the scout philosophy, if you will. And when you are in fact ready to take your shots or get engaged with any kind of a target, just push it straight up. It breezes right past that middle point and goes straight to fire where you're ready to take your shots. Just a couple words about the Savage bolt and action here. It's very nice. This does use the Accu trigger. So you can see there's a blade in the middle of the trigger. You pull that back. That's all the take up you got, and then it's just a very crisp break at that point, which feels real nice. I really like the Savage Accu trigger. Also, in talking about the bolt and how that recocks, you can see that it actually cocks on the uplift right there, on the upswing. And then it just falls backwards, nice and easy to push back down. So For those of you who may be more accustomed to something that cocks as you're pushing it forward and down, that's not what this is. This cocks as you push it up. Worth noting, probably. Also, the Savage floating bolt, really cool feature. You can see how that kind of works. It's supposed to be more accurate. Takedown is fairly simple on the 11. Break that bolt, bring it back, push your trigger backward, and then there's this takedown lever right here in front of the trigger guard you have to pull back as well. Then you can get the bolt out just like so. There's a quick look at it, nice and dirty, ready for a cleaning. Reinsert, just like so. Trigger back, takedown lever back, push it forward, release both, you're done. That's takedown. Obviously you can go further than that, but that's about as much as you need for most cleaning. The 11 Scout at least is free floated. So as you can see there, I can pull this all the way down here. Totally free floated barrel, which is a very nice feature and is going to add to some accuracy. It's not giving me any complaints as far as accuracy is concerned. One word about that though, and I will show you this in post. I took this out, put a handful of different types of rounds through it at 100 yards on a very windy day, and got, I think it was around 1 to 1.5 MOA. Here are the Sierra Match King rounds, the 3 from the last group. They look much better. That is about 3/4 MOA, if not half. I have not broken this one in like I did my 10T. That's intentional. I wanted this to be more of a working gun, not so much of a long-range precision gun, but something that I could go out to 400 to 600 yards with pretty easily, pretty regularly. To be honest, I haven't pushed it out all that far, just a couple of 100 yards at this point. But it's done really well, even doing that. So I've been happy with the accuracy overall. Talking about construction of the gun, you can see that we actually have some spacers right here at the back of the butt. And so you can actually take those down. You can see that it flattens out right there. You can take these out to whatever degree you need to. 2 thin ones and 1 fat one there in the middle. Take that out and size it to yourself. Get it to the point that it is comfortable for you to shoot. That is really nice that they gave that as an addition. This is going to be something that is going to need to fit lots of different shooters. So to give you the option to organize that and to sort of adjust that to yourself, to your body, big thumbs up on that. Also the butt pad, nice and squishy. I like that butt pad a lot. I mean, it is soft. And as if this gun wasn't soft enough for recoil because of that muzzle device, which we'll talk about in a second, this butt pad provides all the extra padding that you would want. It feels real nice to shoot. As you can see there on top of the comb, we've got a nice little riser as well. And there is your adjustment right there, just some Allen wrench screws. So you can raise that or lower it to whatever point you need it to be at. What I did was lower it down to the point that I can actually see through the little peep sight, which is another point I should mention. It does come with these little iron sights, this little peep at the back, which seems to be unscrewing itself. I never noticed that. I'm glad I picked up on that. Well, maybe I should Loctite that sucker. In any case, a little peep sight at the rear and a little blade there at the front. What I did was I zeroed it with that peep sight first to make sure that my irons were on, and also I made sure that this was low enough that I could acquire that peep sight. You almost need to take it off completely to acquire that peep sight comfortably, but you can do it with some discomfort, more or less getting a low eye weld rather than a cheek weld, but it's possible. Now on to that muzzle device. I don't know what you would call this type of muzzle device, or if it's a proprietary one for Savage, but it's fantastic. It reduces that recoil significantly, and getting off shots very quickly, one after the other, real easy to do, real comfortable. Again, just super soft and comfortable on the shoulder, and that's one of the reasons this gun is so fun to work with and to shoot with. Last couple of points, and this is kind of what makes this a Scout configuration, is the Picatinny rail up here at the front. You can see that it is way out there rather than saddling on top of the bolt port where you would normally have most scopes. The reason for that is that it's, again, designed to be in sort of a Scout configuration, and some of the Some of the aspects of a Scout configuration, as folks would say, is that you have a scope forward mounted. And that gives you the option or the ability to sort of get quick access to that scope while also having lots and lots of peripheral vision all around you. Okay, so you're not locked in to something that's really close to your eye, but rather you've got it further out. It's a long eye relief scope, allowing you to do all the work you need to as far as, magnification is concerned. But at the same time, you've got that situational awareness on either side of you where you can still kind of get into and be involved with your surroundings, which is very important. So I like that about the Scout concept, and they executed that very well with this forward rail. I did go ahead and Loctite that down. I'm not sure that it was necessary, but I wanted to take that precaution. One of the other things that this features that kind of makes it a Scout rifle is that we've got two swivel points right here. One up front and then one sort of midway down the stock. And then of course down there at the end of the buttstock. The purpose for that is most Scout slings, when you can find them or when you can get them made or whatever, are designed to kind of split at this point, have one end of it come right here and the other end come out to here. You can still carry that fairly normally by putting your arm through this open hole right there and slinging it around, carrying it wherever you need to carry it. But that allows you to lock into the big loop that would be created through that, lock into that, and get that locked into your shoulder in a way that gives you greater stability. What OpticsPlanet has provided me with here is the Safari Ching Sling, which in my opinion, are made by Galco, which in my opinion does all the work that a standard Scout sling would do, but just in a simpler package and one that's very readily available. So the way that this Safari Ching Sling works is you would get yourself in line, ready to take your shots, and then more or less you would just kind of scoop this up right here, lock it in under your arm. You're locked in nice and tight, ready to take a more secure shot. Now, there's a lot of training I probably need in this regard in order to do all this effectively, from standing, sitting, kneeling, and other positions. But that's more or less how that Ching Sling is supposed to work. And you can see there that you can adjust that to whatever level you need it to be at in order to, again, work with your body and get you the support that you need. We'll get to the Force XR scope from Nikon here in a second. It is a pistol scope, but first I want to talk about the rings, which I think are really cool. These are Leupold QRW. I think I have that right. And the really cool thing about these rings is they allow you to be able to pop this optic off and be able to use those iron sights if you need to. And the way that works is you can see that we've got a couple little levers there on either side. And the cool thing about those levers is they are not locked in this exact position. So what I can do without even unscrewing these those rings at all, what I can do is actually lift that up and rotate it to a different position. By lifting it up and rotating it, what I'm doing is I'm giving myself the leverage to be able to unscrew it more easily. So if perhaps the optic or the stock or some other factor is blocking me ergonomically, I can reposition that little lever so that I can get the torque that I need to and get that scope off as quickly as I need to. I love that fact. And so, I don't need tools to get it off, and I'm not sort of locked into whatever position that lever might be in. Now on to the scope. So the Force XR scope is what we have here, and this one is in 2.5 to 8 by 28 millimeters. It is a pistol scope, as I said before. You've got your adjustment knobs on top and on the side. One click equals 1/4 inch at 100 yards, as you can see on there. And they're very positive. They work really well. I like the adjustments. I like the reticle pretty well too. I'll try to incorporate a picture in post so that you see what that looks like. It comes with these caps on the front and back that flip open, allowing you to keep rain and moisture off the glass, but at the same time have that fairly quick access rain, moisture, dust, you know, whatever. There's a lot of reasons to be able to have little flip caps like this. Of course, you can ditch them because they do pop right off. They'll slide off the, you know, front and back, making it a little lighter package for you, or simpler package if that's what you prefer. So how is the eye relief on it, and how does that change at different magnifications? Let's talk about that. When we go to 2.5, let's examine that real quick. Looking at that eye relief, so I've got a big ghosting ring right now when I'm trying to get my sights lined up right there, and that begins to go away as I pull my head back. If I go in tighter, what happens is that actually closes in tighter, so I don't want that. So at 2.5, I've actually got to be pretty far back in order to get a nice, accurate sight picture. Not the best. When I move up to about 4, that's perfect. I mean, that is the sweet spot for me. Get my cheek on there, and it is exactly the right eye relief, again, for me personally, for my eyes. And as you press that out to about 6, 7, 8, you just find yourself needing to bring your head in a little closer. Again, it gets a little blurry if you're further back, at the same position that you're at for 4. So you want to move in a little closer in order to be able to get a nice clear picture at 8. However, it is nice and sharp. I did a lot of the accuracy testing at 8 power, and I like it. It's a nice sharp picture. So if I am in fact laying prone, kneeling, getting onto some kind of a rest, and I want to take a long distance shot, yeah, absolutely, I'll dial it up to 8. But if I'm doing more reactive, more quick shooting, I'd keep it at 4 and more or less just use that for all the shooting I'm going to do. If I didn't say it before, OpticsPlanet did provide this scope. They provided these rings, and they also provided this sling right here. I love all these parts. I think they're great options for a scout rifle, and I've got links down below for all these parts as well. Once again, 5% off if you go to OpticsPlanet and use code TLBS for anything you purchase. Now I need to move on to the failure that I had with this rifle, and that happened just today after I've put a few hundred rounds through this gun over the past several months. So we'll get into that failure in 1 second, but last thing I want to talk about, a lot of the rounds that I've shot through this gun have been provided by Freedom Munitions. So thanks to them, you can also get 5% off using code TLBS. So do order some Freedom Munitions. What I've been shooting today is 308 150 grain FMJ remanufactured. Very good ammo in general. But let's get to that malfunction I've been promising to tell you about. So here's what happened. 10-round magazine that comes with the Savage Model 11. This was more or less introduced for the Model 11 Scout, or at least that's the way it was told to me at SHOT Show 2015. And what they said is this is going to be readily available. You're going to be able to buy them for pretty cheap, and they're going to work with the Model 10s and the Model 11s. I was stoked to hear that. Ever since then, I've been looking for them. I can't find them anywhere. I've got the one that came with the gun. Whenever I do find other ones, they seem to be extraordinarily high priced. And so I don't know what the deal is with that, but we'll set that aside for now. But it is the magazine that had the failure. And again, just today, after several hundred rounds over several months, is when it's finally breaking down and having a failure. And here's what happened. You can't really tell anything's wrong with this magazine right now, but let me show you. As I kind of squeeze it, bend it out just a little bit, you can see that it pops wide open. It should not come apart that easily. The reason why this one is coming apart so easily is because the tabs that interlock with this point right here, that point there, and the 2 points on the opposite side, 3 of those 4 tabs have busted off. I don't know when or how that happened, but we'll see if we can show you what we're looking at here. I don't know if the camera's going to adjust adequately, so we'll get the flashlight in there. You can see those tabs right, where should they be? They should be right there and right there. See what I'm talking about? There and there, where my 2 fingers are. That's where those tabs should be, and they're busted off. Opposite side, we've got 1 tab still live and still connected right there, and the other one busted off right there. 3 of the 4 tabs on this magazine have broken, so it's no good to me. I can't use it. I've got to send this back to Savage and hopefully get a new one. Maybe at the same time I'll get the skinny on why they don't have more of these magazines available. Can't guarantee anything. But that's the one failure I've had with this gun. Everything else on it has been very good. Clearly their magazines are not as durable as they need to be. Airplane, how you doing? I will say I wish they had used PMags for this gun instead of their proprietary magazines. It kind of makes sense that they would expand their magazine line and just give you a little more capacity for, you know, the magazine design they already had. Makes some sense, but again, if they wanted to be a little friendly to the consumer, they could have used something that's readily available and cheap and out there. Aside from that, I totally and heartily endorse this gun and really love it. Now let's talk about that rebate. Like I said at the beginning of the video, all the links are down in the description, so just follow those and you can get involved in that Model 10 or 11 rebate from Savage. The deal is you can get $100 back when you buy a Model 11 or a 10, and I think it's virtually any of the 11s or 10s, and you know, the link down below will give you more info on that. But $100 back, that's pretty outstanding, especially considering the fact that this gun, which I bought for around $600, is down to, in some cases, under $500. So it's getting really low in price anyway, and now you can get $100 back on this gun. That's fantastic. That's spectacular. So that might even, you know, convince you to get the gun even with that little malfunction that I talked about. Well, that's my review on the Scout from Savage, the Model 11 Scout. I'm a late Boy Scout. I really appreciate you watching. We'll see you later.